Why is it that the harder you try to hold on, the faster everything slips through your fingers? You think control will give you safety, certainty, and power. But what if control is the very thing blocking the life you're begging to experience? Listen carefully. Control feels like strength, but in truth, it is resistance. The moment you try to force every outcome, to micromanage every step, you choke the very energy that could have carried you forward. Control does not open the door, it locks it shut. Have you ever noticed that when you grip too tightly, you lose the flow? The ego whispers, if I can manage it, if I can predict it, if I can measure it, I'll be safe. Yet the more you interfere, the more you disturb the natural unfolding. In quantum physics, the simple act of observation disrupts the experiment. And in life, the more you try to manage every variable, the more tangled and chaotic the results become. Think about it. Someone desperate to attract money works harder, calculates endlessly, multitasks frantically, and never feels enough. What energy do they radiate? Not abundance, not confidence. They radiate panic, and the field, the invisible current of possibility, responds not to their intentions, but to their fear. Ask yourself this: are you confusing effort with results? The ego loves effort. It thrives on doing more, pushing harder, proving itself. But the field does not respond to pressure. It responds to frequency. You cannot bully reality into existence. You can only align with it. So here's the hidden truth. Control is not power. Control is friction. It scrapes, it grinds, it slows everything down. And the more you cling, the further the outcome drifts away. Isn't it ironic? You think you're moving closer, but in reality, you're pushing it out of reach. Picture this: you're holding your breath underwater, fighting to stay in control, but the very act of clinging only makes you sink. The only way to rise is to let go, to trust the current to carry you. Can you feel the urgency in this? Because your life is reflecting back the tension you refuse to release. Control is the mind's attempt to replace trust with tension. And every second you remain trapped in that illusion, the flow of energy recoils from you. But what if you dared to surrender? What if you loosened the grip, stopped demanding answers, and allowed the field to move as it was always meant to? The moment you do, you shift. The resistance dissolves, clarity takes the place of chaos, and the energy that seemed distant suddenly begins to align. And this is where the real story begins. Because if control is an illusion, then what actually shapes your reality? The answer will shake everything you thought you knew. What happens when you try to control the very energy meant to guide you? It stops moving, it resists, it slips away. Energy, like water, needs space. It needs openness to flow, to gather momentum, to take form. But the moment you tighten your grip, you choke it. Imagine trying to catch a stream with clenched fists. What happens? The water vanishes through your fingers. The more you try to contain it, the less of it you actually hold. And isn't that exactly what happens in your life? You want love, so you cling, you chase, you demand constant reassurance. You send messages, you wait for replies, you obsess over every detail. What should have unfolded naturally becomes heavy, suffocating, unnatural. Instead of attraction, you create repulsion. The truth is simple yet brutal. Control contracts while surrender expands. Control squeezes the space where possibility lives. Have you ever wondered why things only seem to fall into place when you stop checking, stop forcing, stop needing? It's not a coincidence, it's the law of energy in motion. Picture this. You're holding your hand tightly closed. Nothing can enter. No gift, no blessing, no opportunity. But the moment you open your palm, the universe can place something new inside. The tighter you hold, the more you lose. The more you release, the more you receive. The tighter you grip, the more the field slips through your hands. This is not poetry, it is reality. It is the silent law that governs everything around you. And yet, why do you keep repeating the same mistake? Why do you grasp when you already know the outcome? Fear. Fear convinces you that without control, everything will fall apart. But what if the opposite is true? What if your control is the very reason things are not arriving? The field does not respond to desperation, it responds to clarity, to openness, to the willingness to trust. The universe cannot move through a closed door, and control is the lock you keep tightening. Ask yourself, are you giving energy room to breathe? Or are you smothering it with doubt, with worry, with the endless need to know when, how, and with whom? This is the paradox you've been trapped in. The harder you push, the less happens. The more you release, the more flows. But if control blocks the current, why do we return to it again and again? What hidden force inside us insists on clinging, even when it costs us the very life we desire? The answer lies deeper than effort. It lies in the secret illusions of the ego, and that is where we must go next. We've been taught a lie, a dangerous illusion, that the more you do, the harder you push, the faster you achieve. But what if all that effort is the very thing pulling you further away? Think about it. From the time you were a child, the message was clear. Work more, strive more, deserve more. And so you grew to believe that manifesting your desires required constant action, relentless pressure, and endless productivity. But does it really? Or is it just the ego's trick, an illusion that confuses effort with results? The ego thrives on effort. It loves checklists, schedules, proof of progress. It whispers, if I work harder, if I meditate longer, if I repeat affirmations 1,000 times, then I will finally deserve what I want. But the truth? The field doesn't respond to your struggle. It responds to your state. Look closer. The person who meditates but still checks the clock, still measures their breathing, still judges their progress, is not aligned. Their body is sitting still, but their energy is restless, calculating, controlling. On the outside it looks spiritual, but inside it is tension, and the field can only mirror back the tension it feels. Haven't you felt this before? The harder you push, the heavier it gets. The more you chase, the further it runs, and yet you keep doubling down, believing more effort will finally break the wall. But the wall is made by effort itself. This is the trap of our culture. More doing equals more worth. More striving equals more success. But energy doesn't play by those rules. Energy doesn't count hours. Energy doesn't care how many times you repeated the mantra. It only reads your frequency. The ego works to earn. The field responds when you return. Return to what? To stillness, to presence, to alignment. Because the moment you stop forcing, the frequency clears. The moment you stop proving, the signal strengthens. And that is the irony. You've been told to fight for your dreams, but the fight is the very thing scattering your energy. The field cannot collapse possibilities into form if your vibration is fractured by over-efforting. So I ask you, if it's not effort, if it's not control, then what is it that truly bends reality into shape? What is the hidden force that takes pure potential and turns it into matter, into form, into life itself? The answer is closer than you think. And once you see it, you will never look at reality the same way again. What if I told you that right now, surrounding you, penetrating you, flowing through every cell of your body, there exists an invisible field of energy? You can't see it, you can't touch it, but it's there, waiting for your signal. This is the quantum field. A vast sea of infinite potential. Every possibility you've ever dreamed of, every reality you've ever imagined already exists within it. Not as solid matter, not yet, but as waves, pure potential, waiting for one thing, you. Think about that. Science has proven it. Quantum physics calls it the field of infinite potential. Every outcome, every path, every version of your life is right here, vibrating around you right now. And the only question is, which one will collapse into your reality? You might say, but if it's real, why can't I see it? Let me ask you this. Can you see Wi-Fi? Can you see the radio frequencies that beam music into your car? No. But you know they're there, waiting for the right device, the right channel, the right receiver. The field works the same way. You don't have to see it to connect to it. You only need the right signal. And here's where it gets extraordinary. The field doesn't listen to your words. It doesn't care about the sentences you say or the affirmations you recite. It listens to energy, to vibration, to the silent broadcast of your being. Just because it's invisible doesn't mean it's not listening. This truth will change the way you see everything. Imagine it. You're constantly transmitting a frequency through your emotions, through your state of mind, through the energy pulsing from your heart. The field is tuned to that signal. It's like a cosmic mirror, reflecting not what you ask for, but what you are. And here's the mystery. You are never disconnected from it. The illusion is separation. The reality is unity. You are breathing in it, standing in it, living inside it every single moment. The field connects all things, everywhere, across time and space. So the question becomes, if the field is real, if it is listening, if it is surrounding you at this very moment, then how do you actually speak to it? Not with words, not with effort, but with the one language it truly understands. And that language is vibration. So now the real journey begins, because if the field responds not to what you say, but to what you radiate, then what exactly are you sending out into it right now? What if I told you the field doesn't care about the words you speak? It doesn't hear your affirmations. It doesn't listen to your logic. It only hears one thing, your vibration. You can say, I am abundant. You can repeat it 100 times. But if inside you feel fear, if your body pulses with doubt, if your emotions radiate lack, then that is the signal the field receives, and the field never lies. Science confirms it. Your emotions, your heartbeat, your very biology create an energy signature, a unique frequency you broadcast every moment of every day. It is not hidden. It is not secret. The field picks it up instantly, like a radio tower tuned to your personal station, and it responds, not to what you wish, but to what you truly radiate. Think about it. A person whispers, I love myself, but beneath the words they feel unworthy, ashamed, insecure. Do you think the field listens to the sentence? No, it listens to the vibration of insecurity. And so, life reflects back more proof of that vibration. You don't manifest what you say, you manifest what you radiate. That is the truth most people never face. And here's the shocking part. You can't fake it. You can't disguise your frequency with pretty language. The field sees through every mask, every script, every forced smile. It knows the real signal, because energy cannot be hidden. So ask yourself, what are you actually radiating right now? What does your field feel from you? Is it confidence, or is it desperation? Is it gratitude, or is it fear disguised as positivity? This is where the mystery deepens. Because once you realize the field only hears vibration, you understand why so many efforts fail. It's not that the universe ignores you, it's that you're speaking the wrong language. And here's the invitation. Stop trying to talk your way into a new reality. Start embodying the frequency of it instead. If you want love, radiate the feeling of being loved. If you want wealth, live the frequency of abundance now. If you want peace, transmit peace from within. Because the field doesn't respond to words, it responds to resonance. And when your frequency matches the possibility, the wave collapses into reality. And that is the key. The frequency you hold is the doorway. The vibration you radiate is the bridge, and it is that signal, clear, undeniable, that decides what version of reality finally becomes yours. What if I told you that reality doesn't bend to what you ask for, it bends to who you are? This is the secret most people never see. The field doesn't collapse around your wishes, it collapses around your identity. In quantum physics, there's a principle called wave-particle duality. Every particle exists as a wave of infinite potential until it is observed. The very act of observation forces the wave to collapse into a single outcome. Do you see the power of this? Reality is not fixed. It waits for alignment. It waits for the signal of who you are being. So here's the truth. When you maintain a specific vibration, when you embody the state of someone who already has it, the field responds. Possibilities collapse. Matter forms. Life rearranges itself to match your frequency. Think about it. If you live as someone desperate for love, the field doesn't bring you love. It mirrors desperation. But if you live as someone already whole, already worthy, already confident, the field collapses into a reality where love flows to you effortlessly. Reality doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to who you've become. Sit with that. Let it echo inside you. You've been told to ask, to beg, to wait. But have you noticed? Asking from lack only creates more lack. Wishing from fear only amplifies fear. Because the signal is not in your words, it's in your state of being. Picture this. Two people set the same goal. One constantly wonders when it will arrive, doubts if they're ready, and pushes harder each day. The other shifts identity. They walk, breathe, and act as if it's already theirs. The first radiates absence, the second radiates fulfillment. And guess who the field responds to? This is not magic. This is mechanics. You do not manifest by chasing. You manifest by embodying. You shift from wanting to being, from seeking to living. So I ask you, who are you being right now? Not what do you want, not what do you wish, but who are you? Because that identity, that vibration, is the one choosing which version of reality you step into. And here lies the turning point. If your frequency collapses possibilities into form, then what exactly is the force that determines which of those infinite waves becomes your lived reality? The answer is the most mysterious, the most profound, and it's coming next. Reality is not fixed. It is not solid. It is waiting for you. Before you look, before you choose, every particle exists as a wave, an infinite ocean of probabilities. But the instant you observe, the instant you give your focus, that wave collapses into a single outcome. That is reality. That is the secret hidden inside the quantum world. The double-slit experiment proved it. Scientists watched as particles behaved like waves, spreading into infinite possibilities until they were observed. The moment an observer entered the scene, everything changed. The wave collapsed into a defined path. Consciousness did not just witness reality, it shaped it. And isn't that exactly what happens in your life? Possibilities swirl all around you. Countless paths, endless choices, infinite timelines. But the one that materializes is the one you focus on. You don't simply watch reality, you select it. You don't observe reality, you select it. Let that sentence burn into your mind. Life is like a cosmic menu. Every option exists, but you cannot eat them all. You only experience what you order with your focus. If you fixate on lack, you collapse the timeline of scarcity. If you focus on abundance, you call that path into form. The menu is infinite, but your attention is the order slip. Think about how powerful this makes you. Every thought you sustain, every emotion you energize, every image you hold in your mind is a command to the field. You are not a passive witness. You are the deciding force. And yet, how often do you waste this power? How often do you scatter your attention on fear, on worry, on problems? Every moment you focus, you collapse a wave into matter. Every second of attention is a choice between worlds. So ask yourself, what world are you choosing? Are you collapsing a timeline of limitation, or are you calling in the reality of expansion? This is the real mystery. You don't need to master physics to live it. You're already doing it right now. Every second of awareness is shaping the universe around you. And here's the warning. When your focus is steady, reality obeys. But when your focus is scattered, when your signal is unstable, the collapse never completes. Potential lingers. Nothing solidifies. So what happens when your signal fractures? When your energy is split and unfocused? That is where the story takes a darker turn. What happens when your signal is scattered? Reality freezes. Possibilities remain suspended in the quantum field, never collapsing, never becoming real. A chaotic, unfocused mind cannot command the field. One moment you believe, the next you doubt. 1 second you desire, the next you fear. Your vibration shifts, splinters, fractures, and the field has no choice but to wait. It cannot respond to noise. It can only respond to clarity. Think about it. It's like turning on a radio, but switching the station every 3 seconds. Do you ever hear the song? No. All you hear is static, broken fragments of sound, a mess of interruptions. And that's exactly what your life becomes when your energy is inconsistent. You wake up, you write affirmations, you speak words of confidence, but by midday, you worry, you compare, you question. The frequency collapses. By night, you doubt it all again. Do you realize what's happening? The field doesn't know which signal to follow, so it follows none. The field can only collapse what you consistently hold. This is the law, not sometimes, not occasionally. Consistency is the key. So let me ask you, what are you holding? Are you holding one clear vibration long enough for reality to take shape? Or are you scattering your power across conflicting signals, never giving the field enough time to respond? This is why so many dreams stay dreams. It's not that they are impossible. It's not that the field rejects them. It's that your signal is unstable. One day you are tuned to abundance, the next to lack. One day you are tuned to love, the next to fear. The dial never rests, the station never locks in. And here is the painful truth. The universe is not ignoring you. It is mirroring your inconsistency. It is showing you the chaos you project. But imagine, what if you stopped scattering? What if you held one signal, steady, unwavering, unbroken? How quickly would your world transform? How fast would the waves collapse into form? This is the invitation, to choose, to focus, to hold the frequency long enough for the miracle to solidify. Because when your signal is fractured, reality stays in limbo. But when your signal is whole, reality obeys. So the question is, what happens when your energy becomes so unstable, so chaotic, that even the field itself reflects confusion back to you? That is where we are heading next. Chaos within always creates confusion without. Your outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner vibration, and when that vibration is unstable, reality itself becomes distorted. In quantum physics, there is a term, decoherence. It describes what happens when a quantum system loses alignment, when the delicate coherence of waves shatters, leaving no clear collapse into form. The result is blurred, unstable, uncertain, and that is exactly what happens to your life when your energy is scattered. Think about it. You want love, but you also fear rejection. You crave abundance, but you secretly believe you don't deserve it. You long for success, but deep down you expect failure. What signal does the field receive? Not one, not two, but a tangled mess of contradictions, and so it mirrors back the chaos you broadcast. Look closely. Reality under decoherence is never clean. It is never fully positive or fully negative. It is murky, confusing, half-formed. That relationship you attract feels uncertain, unclear, full of mixed messages. That career path feels shaky, filled with opportunities that collapse just as quickly as they appear. Does this sound familiar? The quantum field doesn't get confused. You do, and it just reflects that. That is the brutal truth. Because the field itself is flawless, infinite, pure potential. But when you scatter your desires, when you drown your energy in emotional turbulence, the signal you emit becomes unstable. And the field, obedient as always, returns that instability to you in physical form. So the real question is this: what storm are you carrying inside? What contradictions are you transmitting every single day? Because until you face them, until you bring coherence back into your frequency, life will continue to echo back the chaos. This is why some people live in cycles of unclear relationships, unstable finances, or endless setbacks. It is not punishment, it is reflection. Their vibration is fragmented, and the field cannot collapse a fragmented wave into clarity. But imagine, what if you stopped splitting your energy? What if your desire and your belief aligned? What if your emotions stopped sabotaging the signal? The moment coherence returns, the chaos dissolves. Reality sharpens. Possibility becomes form. So if chaos within equals confusion without, then what truly causes this inner storm? What force keeps scrambling your energy until your reality becomes a distorted echo of your fears? That is the mystery we must uncover next. You cannot move forward while pulling in two directions at once. You cannot call in a desire with all your heart while at the same time fearing it, doubting it, resisting it. Two opposite signals cancel each other out, and when they do, nothing happens. This is the silent killer of manifestation, conflicting intentions. You say, I want love, but inside, you fear heartbreak. You affirm, I am wealthy, but every time the bills arrive, panic floods your body. Can you see the contradiction? The field receives both frequencies at once, and like static noise, they jam the signal. Science gives us the proof. When two waves overlap in opposite phases, they don't amplify, they cancel, they collapse into silence. The energy is there, but it annihilates itself. And that is exactly what happens when your desires fight your fears. Split energy equals zero movement. That is the law. Picture this. A person wakes each morning and declares, I am abundant. They write it down, they say it out loud, but all day they obsess over debt, they stress over money, they fear not having enough. What signal do they send? Not abundance, not lack, just noise. The field cannot collapse noise into reality, and so nothing changes. This is why so many people feel stuck, working hard, affirming, visualizing, but never moving forward. It's not because the field is ignoring them. It's because they are transmitting a contradiction. One foot on the gas, the other on the brake. The car goes nowhere. Ask yourself right now, where are you splitting your energy? Where are your desires battling your doubts? Because until you unify the signal, until you align your emotions with your intentions, the field will remain paralyzed. This is not punishment. It is precision. The field reflects exactly what you broadcast. If your vibration is fractured, reality reflects the fracture. If your signal is whole, reality responds with clarity. So here is the invitation. Stop scattering, stop broadcasting confusion. Choose one clear vibration and hold it, trust it, amplify it. And when you do, the field has no choice but to collapse that wave into form. But here is the deeper truth. Conflicting thoughts are only half the story. What truly scrambles your signal is something far more powerful, your unhealed emotions, and that is where we must go next. Emotions are not harmless background noise. They are the very power source of your signal. And when those emotions are turbulent, unprocessed, chaotic, they scramble everything. Have you ever noticed what happens when anger, anxiety, or regret grips you? Your body tightens, your heart races, your thoughts spiral out of control. This isn't just stress, this is your nervous system broadcasting static. And the field, which needs a clean frequency to respond, suddenly hears nothing but distortion. Think about it like an antenna. When it's stable, upright, aligned, the signal is clear, the station comes through perfectly. But bend it, shake it, damage it, and the music breaks into fragments. That is exactly what happens when your emotions spin without resolution. The signal stutters, the coherence collapses. If your emotions are spinning, your signal is stuttering. And the field has no choice but to mirror that instability back to you. Imagine this in real life. You long to be loved. You want closeness, intimacy, trust. But deep inside, you carry the wound of not feeling enough. So when someone gets close, the storm begins. Doubt rises, suspicion creeps in, fear whispers. What signal are you truly sending? Not "I am worthy of love." The field hears only "I don't deserve it," and reality responds accordingly. Do you see how dangerous emotional turbulence is? It hijacks your vibration. It makes your words meaningless. It cancels out your intentions. The field does not judge you. It does not punish you. It simply reflects the incoherence you emit. And here's the part most people never face. You can meditate for hours, you can repeat affirmations endlessly, but if beneath the surface your nervous system is in overdrive, your energy will always be scrambled. Coherence cannot exist in a storm. So I ask you, what emotions are spinning inside you right now? Which wounds, which fears, which regrets are distorting your frequency, keeping your reality in chaos? Because until you face them, until you release them, your signal will remain broken. And a broken signal cannot collapse waves into form, but there is hope. The moment you restore calm, the moment your system stabilizes, your field clears, the music comes through again. Reality sharpens. Possibility finally becomes matter. So the question is no longer whether the field is listening. It always is. The real question is, how do you restore coherence to your energy? How do you return to clarity so the field can finally respond? That is exactly where we are heading next. Your attention is not harmless. It is not neutral. It is the most creative force you possess. In quantum physics, this is called the observer effect. Before anything is observed, particles exist as waves, pure potential, infinite possibilities. But the very moment observation enters, everything changes. The wave collapses. Potential narrows into one specific reality. Without the observer, nothing is defined. With the observer, reality is born. The double-slit experiment proved it. Left unobserved, particles behave like waves, spreading into infinite outcomes. But when someone watches, the pattern collapses into order. Consciousness itself bends the behavior of matter. Do you understand what this means? You are not passively watching life unfold. You are the one shaping it. Your gaze is not passive. It is the architect of experience. Let that truth sink deep. Think about it in your own life. When you focus on the good in someone, when you give your attention to their kindness, their light, their strength, how does the relationship shift? It grows warmer, richer, more open. But when your gaze locks on their flaws, their mistakes, their shortcomings, what happens? That becomes all you see. The relationship bends around your focus. This is the power you carry every single day. Where you place your awareness, reality takes form. Attention is energy. And energy is the currency the quantum field obeys. So I ask you, where's your focus right now? On fear or on possibility? On what's missing or on what's unfolding? Because whatever you observe, you influence. Whatever you sustain your gaze upon, you give life to. And here is the hidden danger. Your focus cannot be avoided. You are always observing something. And with every act of observation, you are shaping the collapse of waves into form. That means you are creating, even when you believe you are not. The question is, are you creating consciously or by default? This is not philosophy, this is physics. The experiment is undeniable. Your focus reshapes the field. Your gaze writes the blueprint of the life you step into. But here's the twist. What happens when your attention, this incredible creative force, is projected from a field of instability? What happens when the gaze itself is fractured, incoherent, chaotic? That is where the story takes a sharp turn, and it's the next truth we need to face. Consciousness does not sit back and watch reality. Consciousness forges it. Your awareness is the force that collapses possibility into form. The quantum field holds every potential, every timeline, every version of your life, floating in waveform, waiting. Nothing is solid until your observation arrives. The moment your awareness focuses, the moment you choose where to look, one possibility collapses into matter. One path becomes real. This is not theory. This is law. If you constantly gaze through the lens of fear, what happens? You collapse into timelines filled with risk, loss, and scarcity. You don't just fear it, you select it. And if you direct your awareness with faith, with clarity, with certainty, the opposite occurs. Opportunities appear. People align. Coincidences pile up until they no longer feel like coincidences. They are the result of observation made consistent. You don't wait for life to happen. You observe it into happening. That is the hidden power you've carried all along. Think of a goal you once held with conviction. You didn't just dream it. You saw it, felt it, lived it in your mind until it became undeniable. And then, the so-called random events began lining up. The conversation with a stranger, the job opening at the exact right time, the idea that popped into your mind in the middle of the night. Was that luck? Or was that the field responding to the unwavering signal of your awareness? Understand this. Your observation is not passive. It is directive. It doesn't merely witness what is, it summons what will be. Every moment of awareness is a brushstroke painting the canvas of your future. So I ask you, what picture are you painting? Are you collapsing possibilities of expansion, love, and abundance? Or are you unconsciously choosing the same tired patterns of fear, doubt, and limitation? This is the urgency. Every second of focus is collapsing a timeline. Every glance, every thought sustained is shaping the reality you step into. You are not waiting for life to deliver. You are delivering life into form. But here's the warning. Observation alone is not enough. For the collapse to hold, for the reality to stabilize, your frequency must be coherent. Your energy must be aligned. Otherwise, the picture you paint blurs, fades, dissolves. So the question now becomes, how do you ensure your signal is stable enough, strong enough to sustain the reality you've chosen? That is the mystery we must face next. You are not just sitting here receiving life as if it were some random broadcast. You are not a passive receiver. You are the projector. The world you see is not imposed on you. It is projected from you. Just like a film projector cannot display a movie different from the real inside it, your reality cannot display anything different from the energy you emit. If the real inside is fear, the film on the screen cannot be peace. If the real inside is lack, the movie outside cannot be abundance. You're not a character on the screen. You're the light behind the projection. Remember that. Let it echo. Think about it. How many times have you heard someone complain, "Why is life always unfair to me? Why do bad things always happen to me?" They don't realize they are not cursed, they are broadcasting. They are radiating the frequency of victimhood. And the field, flawless in its response, reflects that energy back in the form of more unfairness, more struggle, more proof of the very movie they are projecting. This is the cruel irony. People believe the world is happening to them. They don't see that the world is happening through them. The script is written inside, the projection is broadcast outward, and the reality they step into is nothing more than the reflection of their inner real. So let me ask you, what film are you running inside right now? What story is your energy projecting? Is it the story of not enough? Is it the script of fear, doubt, and loss? Or is it the reel of confidence, clarity, abundance, and trust? Because here's the truth. You cannot project fear and expect peace. You cannot radiate lack and expect overflow. The screen will only ever show what the light within you carries. And yet, this is not a message of despair, it is one of power. Because if the real inside shapes the film outside, then you are never trapped. Change the reel and you change the movie. Shift your energy, and the field has no choice but to reflect a new story. So here is the urgency. Stop identifying as a character being thrown around by the plot. Step into the role of the projector, the light, the source. Because the moment you do, reality is no longer something you endure, it becomes something you create. But there is one condition. For your projection to be sharp, clear, undeniable, the light itself must be steady, not fractured, not clouded by turbulence. And that leads to the next great question. How do you ensure the light you're projecting is pure? Manifestation is not about trying harder. It is not about piling on more techniques, more rituals, more effort. Manifestation is about one thing: coherence. In quantum physics, coherence means stability, an aligned, unified signal that moves in one direction without scattering. Imagine a flashlight. Its beam spreads wide, diffused, weak. Now imagine a laser. Same light, same energy, but focused, coherent, unstoppable. That is the difference between scattered vibration and coherent frequency. So let me ask you, what kind of signal are you sending right now? A scattered flashlight, diluted and uncertain? Or a laser beam, piercing through the field with clarity so sharp that reality has no choice but to respond? Because here's the truth. The field does not speak words. It does not respond to affirmations repeated out of habit. It responds to coherence. It responds to clarity. The field doesn't speak words. It speaks clarity. Let that sink in. Picture this. Two people say the exact same affirmation: I am abundant. One says it while doubting, while fearing, while secretly believing the opposite. The other says it from a place of wholeness, from inner certainty, from a frequency already aligned with abundance. Which one does the field respond to? Always the second. Always the second. Not because of the words, but because of the coherence behind them. This is why some people seem to manifest effortlessly. It looks like magic. They aren't doing more. They aren't trying harder. They are simply vibrating clearer. Their signal is unified, steady, undeniable, and the field cannot resist a coherent frequency. So I ask you again, what language are you speaking to the field? Are you throwing scattered signals, hoping one will land? Or are you transmitting a single, unwavering vibration that the field instantly understands? This is why alignment is greater than action. 1,000 steps taken in chaos cannot match one step taken in coherence. The universe is not counting your effort. It is tuning into your frequency. And this is the secret most people miss. They think manifestation requires force, grind, endless repetition. But the field doesn't need more noise. It needs one clear signal, one coherent vibration, one frequency that holds steady long enough to collapse into form. But here's the mystery. If coherence is the language the field understands, why do so many people fail to hold it? Why does clarity slip away so easily? The answer reveals the biggest trap of all, and that is exactly where we must go next. You can say the words, you can perform the rituals, you can follow every technique you've ever been taught, but if your energy whispers the opposite, the field will not be fooled. This is misalignment. When your mouth says one thing, but your vibration tells the truth. You declare, I am abundant, yet every time you think of money, your stomach knots with fear. You insist, I am worthy of love, yet deep down you feel not enough. Which one does the field believe? Always the energy, always the frequency. Energy doesn't lie. It broadcasts your truth, not your intention. This is why so many people practice affirmations, meditations, visualizations, stacking one on top of another, hoping to force reality to bend. They may do 10 techniques a day, yet nothing changes. Why? Because inside, their energy is fragmented. Their signal is broken. The field hears the static of doubt louder than the sound of words. So let me ask you, are you truly aligned with what you say? Or are you trying to mask fear with language, trying to cover lack with positive phrases? Because the field doesn't listen to scripts. It listens to resonance, and resonance can't be faked. Think of it like music. You can tell the world you're playing a symphony, but if your instrument is out of tune, everyone will hear the discord. You cannot hide it. The sound will reveal the truth. Your energy works the same way. No matter what you say, the field picks up the real note you're playing. And here is the paradox. Most people chase more techniques to cover the gap, when the gap was never in the words, it was in the state. They keep pushing, forcing, pretending, while their frequency continues to fracture. And so reality stays the same. But imagine this. Imagine speaking fewer words, but radiating pure coherence. Imagine dropping the mask of false positivity and aligning fully with the vibration of already having it. No static, no contradiction, just one clear, undeniable frequency. How fast would the field respond? How quickly would life rearrange to match your truth? So the question becomes urgent. If the field responds only to your real state, how do you ensure your energy and your words are one? How do you create true coherence, not forced performance? Because until you do, misalignment will keep your manifestations locked away. But the moment you unify state and speech, the moment your vibration matches your vision, everything begins to collapse into form. And that is the very secret we must uncover next. Manifestation is not about piling on more effort, more rituals, more techniques. The truth is shocking. The less you do, the faster it comes if your energy is aligned, because alignment beats action every single time. When your vibration matches your desire, reality doesn't need to be forced. It organizes itself around you. Doors swing open, people appear, opportunities line up, and it looks like luck, but it isn't luck. It is coherence. One clear signal does more than 1,000 scattered ones. That is the secret no one wants to hear. Think about it. You've seen people who seem to have everything fall into place for them. They're not grinding 24 hours a day. They're not desperate, frantic, or overloaded with techniques. They live from a state of inner stability, and life mirrors that state back. They appear lucky, but in truth, they are aligned. Now ask yourself, are you aligned, or are you overcompensating? Are you radiating a steady signal, or are you scattering energy through endless action, hoping one attempt will land? Picture this. Two people want love. One journals, visualizes, repeats affirmations, and forces connection after connection, yet nothing sticks. The other simply knows, feels, and embodies love as part of who they are. Without strain, without trying, they attract exactly what they were seeking. Why? Because the second person isn't chasing. They are already tuned. And here's the hard truth. Most people exhaust themselves with action because they don't trust alignment. They believe doing more will cover for the lack of coherence inside. But the field doesn't reward busyness, it rewards resonance. So what if you stopped forcing? What if you released the need to perform and simply aligned your energy with the reality you want? Wouldn't life rearrange itself more quickly, more smoothly, more effortlessly? This is the paradox. The more you try, the more you scatter. The less you push, the more coherent you become. And in coherence, reality bends. So the next question is this: if alignment is the real key, why do so many of us fail to reach it? Why do we keep circling back into chaos, doubt, and contradiction? The answer lies in the deepest trap of all, and that is what we must uncover next. The greatest trap in manifestation is not doing too little. It is doing too much. You've been told more effort equals more results, more methods, more practices, more tools. But here's the shocking truth. The more you chase techniques, the more you scatter your energy. And the more you scatter, the weaker your signal becomes. Think about it. You try scripting in the morning, visualizing at lunch, journaling in the afternoon, affirmations before bed, subliminals while you sleep. You stack them all, believing you're amplifying your power. But what's really happening? Your energy is fragmenting. Your field is confused, and confusion never collapses into clarity. More doing doesn't mean more attracting, it means more scattering. Let me give you an image. Imagine your phone with 20 apps running at once, each one demanding energy, attention, resources. What happens? The system lags, the battery drains, the screen freezes. That's exactly what happens to your vibration when you overload it with too many practices. The signal slows, weakens, stalls. And in real life, you can see it. Someone meditates in the morning, journals by midday, does shadow work at night, listens to affirmations as they fall asleep, and yet they still feel tired, doubtful, disconnected. Why? Because instead of strengthening the frequency, they've jammed it with noise. The field doesn't know what to respond to, so it responds to nothing. So let me ask you, are you truly amplifying your energy, or are you scattering it through endless effort? Are you holding one strong frequency, or are you hopping from practice to practice, never trusting one long enough to stabilize? This is the irony. People believe more action will compensate for lack of belief. They try to cover their doubt with busyness, but the field does not listen to effort. It listens to clarity. One coherent signal collapses faster than 100 conflicting ones. And here's the hard truth. Spiritual burnout is real. The exhaustion you feel isn't because manifestation doesn't work. It's because you've overloaded your system with too many signals. The field isn't ignoring you. It's waiting for you to simplify. So the real key is not to do more. It is to choose less, to align deeply with one clear practice, one steady frequency, one coherent vibration. That is where the power lies. But here's the catch. The problem is not only in the number of techniques, it is in the instability of your choices. And that is the deeper trap we must uncover next. Simplicity is not weakness. Simplicity is power. The The clearest, strongest signal you can send into the quantum field comes from a state of quiet, focused consistency, not from endless noise. Think about it. In electronics, the less interference, the stronger the transmission. In energy, the same law applies. The fewer doubts, the fewer worries, the fewer scattered practices, the sharper your vibration becomes. Clarity is strength. Coherence is speed. One pure signal outshines 1,000 scattered ones. So let me ask you, are you complicating the process? Are you piling on rituals, chasing every new method, drowning yourself in noise? Or are you holding one simple, powerful signal day after day until reality has no choice but to bend? Because this is the secret. Manifestation doesn't require complexity. It requires consistency. A single affirmation, believed with your whole being, carries more weight than 10 techniques performed with doubt. One visualization, felt deeply and held steadily, collapses faster than 100 rushed attempts. Picture it. A person wakes every morning, places their hand on their heart, and speaks one truth: I am already whole. And they feel it. They embody it. They carry it into their day. Nothing fancy, nothing overloaded, just one clear signal pulsing steadily into the field. And before long, their life shifts. Opportunities appear. Love arrives. Health improves. Not because they did more, but because they vibrated clearer. Meanwhile, another person scrambles through countless practices, switching methods, layering effort on top of it, yet they remain stuck. Why? Because their signal is fractured. The field hears confusion, not clarity. So here's the challenge. Will you keep chasing the illusion that more is better, or will you embrace the truth that less, when held with coherence, creates faster, sharper, undeniable results? Simplicity is not doing less, it is doing what matters and doing it with unwavering focus. It is stripping away the noise until only the pure frequency remains. And in that purity, the field finds its instructions. This is why the most powerful manifestors are not the busiest. They are the clearest. Their signal is not loud, it is sharp. Not frantic, it is precise. And precision collapses reality. But here's the final question. How do you simplify without weakening? How do you refine your practice until it becomes both minimal and unstoppable? That is the key we must unlock next. You don't need another method. You don't need another book, another ritual, another complicated routine. What you need, what you've always needed, is clarity. Because the truth is brutal. Many people think they are radiating positivity, when in fact their energy is dripping with doubt, lack, and control. They believe they are saying yes to the universe, but their vibration whispers, I'm not ready. And the field does not respond to what you wish you were radiating. It responds to what you actually are. The field isn't unclear, your energy is. So let me ask you, what signal are you truly sending right now? Not the one you post online, not the one you tell your friends, the real one, the vibration underneath the words, because that is the frequency the field hears. That is the frequency shaping your reality. It's like speaking yes out loud while your heart is screaming no. Which one do you think the field obeys? Always the heart, always the deeper current of your energy. And this is why so many people spin in frustration. They consume 50 books on the law of attraction. They memorize endless techniques, yet they never stop to sit in silence and feel their actual vibration. They never ask the most important question, what am I truly radiating? And here lies the breakthrough. The field doesn't need more techniques, it doesn't need more noise, it doesn't need you to push harder. What it needs is one thing, a clear, stable signal. Picture this. Two people want abundance. One studies every technique, hopping from method to method, drowning in confusion. The other closes their eyes, breathes deeply, and aligns fully with the state of already enough. One radiates noise. The other radiates clarity. Who do you think the field responds to? So I challenge you. Are you chasing tools because you don't trust your energy? Are you hiding behind action because you fear stillness? Because until you clean the static, until you stabilize your frequency, no amount of doing will ever replace the power of being. Clarity is not glamorous. It is not complicated. It is simple, raw, undeniable alignment. And once you find it, the field has no choice. It will bend. It will respond. But that raises the next great question. If clarity is the real technique, how do you clean the signal? How do you stabilize it so it holds unshaken until reality collapses into form? That is exactly what we must uncover next. Strategy will never beat stability. You can learn every method, master every practice, memorize every step. But if your energy is unstable, the field will only hear chaos. Because manifestation is not about the technique you use, it's about the state you sustain. A steady emotional state carries more magnetic power than a dozen strategies ever could. A stable frequency speaks louder than a perfect routine. Science already shows us this. The electromagnetic field of your heart shifts with your emotional state. When you are calm, grateful, at peace, your energy becomes coherent. Your field stabilizes, and when it stabilizes, it communicates with clarity. But when your emotions rise and crash, when fear rules one day and anger the next, the field hears nothing but instability. So let me ask you, are you consistent in your state, or are you chasing stability through strategy? Because the truth is brutal. The field doesn't care how perfect your routine looks. It doesn't care if you meditate at 6 a.m. sharp, journal for 15 minutes, visualize for 20. If you carry chaos in your chest, that chaos overrides every practice. Picture this. One person practices gratitude every single morning. Nothing dramatic, nothing flashy, just a steady state of thankfulness day after day. The other tries something new every day. Affirmations today, shadow work tomorrow, anger the next, doubt the next. Which one does the field respond to? Always the first. Not because they did more, but because their energy was stable. This is the key most people ignore. They believe a new method will save them when in truth only stability will. Consistency of vibration always outweighs complexity of strategy. So what if you stopped chasing methods? What if instead you committed to one clear state, gratitude, peace, trust, and held it day after day until it became your natural frequency? Imagine how powerfully the field would respond. Imagine how quickly your reality would bend. The urgency is this. Stop chasing. Stop scrambling. Stability is the foundation. Without it, no practice will ever stick. With it, even the simplest practice will move mountains. So the question is no longer which technique will work for you. The question is, how do you anchor stability? How do you root yourself so deeply in a coherent state that nothing shakes it? That is the first true step into the power of being. And it is exactly where we are about to go next. Being is the only technique you will ever need. All the affirmations, the meditations, the visualizations, they are not the goal. They are only tools designed to take you into one place, a new state of being. And here's the revelation. If you skip the tools and go straight to being, the field responds instantly. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. Think about it. Every practice, every ritual is just a bridge to one truth, embodying the version of yourself who already lives the reality you seek. When you become that version now, when you think, feel, and act as if it is already true, you collapse the waiting. You stop chasing. You start radiating. And the field cannot resist that signal. Dr. Joe Dispenza said it clearly. You can't create a new reality with the same personality. If you want something different, you must become someone different. Your old self cannot pull a new timeline into form. Only the embodied self can. So let me ask you, are you still waiting for the result before you allow yourself to feel it? Are you saying, I'll believe it when I see it? Because that is backwards. The field does not deliver on demand. It mirrors your state. When you are it, reality has no choice but to reflect it. Picture this. Someone constantly asks, when will it happen? When will it come? That very question radiates lack, doubt, waiting. And so the field delays, reflecting waiting back to them. Meanwhile, someone else stops asking. They live as if it has already arrived. They walk with confidence, breathe with peace, speak with gratitude. They don't chase the future. They embody it now. And what happens? Reality bends to their being. This is the final truth. You do not need more techniques. You need embodiment. You need to decide who you are and live it, breathe it, radiate it. Because the field doesn't argue. It doesn't hesitate. It doesn't negotiate. It simply reflects. So the choice is yours. Will you keep chasing what you want, or will you become the one who already has it? Because once you embody the frequency of your desired reality, the quantum field collapses instantly. No waiting. No struggle, no endless search for the next method. And now it is time to connect every piece, every principle into one final message. Control is the great illusion. Clarity is the real power. The more you try to control, the more you choke the very energy that wants to move through you. Control is born from fear, from the desperate urge to know how, when, and where. But the field does not respond to fear. It cannot align with tension. It only mirrors the vibration you hold. Control is noise. Clarity is magnetism. Think about it. A person obsessed with controlling their schedule, their finances, their relationships. What happens? Nothing flows. Everything feels forced. Life seems to break down around them. Not because the universe is cruel, but because control fractures the signal. The field cannot collapse into coherence when the energy you broadcast is resistance. Picture this. Someone spends hours reworking their vision board, constantly shifting goals, checking every day if it's working. What vibration are they really sending? Lack, doubt, waiting. And so the field reflects exactly that. Delay, frustration, absence. Now contrast it with clarity. When you are clear, clear in your energy, clear in your state, clear in your being, you don't need to check. You don't need to force. You radiate coherence, and coherence is irresistible. The field has no choice but to respond. So let me ask you, are you still clinging to control, believing it will make you safe? Or are you ready to step into clarity, where true magnetism begins? Because control is always noise, and noise cannot collapse waves into reality. Only clarity can. This is why surrender feels so terrifying and so powerful. To surrender is not to give up. It is to release the grip of fear so that your frequency can finally stabilize. And once it stabilizes, reality bends. What you once chased begins to chase you. What you once begged for begins to appear. Clarity is not frantic. It is not desperate. It is steady, stable, coherent. And in that coherence, the quantum field finally hears you. So here lies the choice. Keep tightening your grip and reality will slip further away, or release the illusion of control, step fully into clarity, and watch the field deliver with precision. Because in the end, control blocks, clarity attracts, and once you understand that, you unlock the true power of alignment with the field. But this raises the deeper question. If clarity is the real key, what exactly brings you into perfect coherence with the field? That is the truth we must confront next. Coherence is your new superpower, not another method, not another strategy, but the alignment of your thoughts, emotions, and actions into one single frequency so clear, the universe cannot ignore it. Because this is the truth. When your mind says one thing, your heart feels another, and your actions contradict both. You broadcast static. The field doesn't hear desire, it hears confusion. But when all three align, when thought, feeling, and action speak the same language, that signal is unstoppable. That signal collapses reality instantly. A coherent being is a quantum command. Science proves this. The heart generates a magnetic field far greater than the brain, which means the emotion you embody, the vibration you feel in your chest, carries immense influence over the quantum field. When your heart, mind, and body pulse in the same rhythm, the message is amplified, and the field listens immediately. Picture it. One person does every technique they can find, affirmations, meditations, vision boards, but deep down their emotions are chaotic, their actions are frantic, their signal is fragmented, and nothing changes. Meanwhile, another person speaks little, practices nothing fancy, but their energy is whole. They think abundance, they act abundance, and abundance flows to them without struggle. So ask yourself right now, are you coherent or are you fragmented? Are your words saying one thing while your emotions whisper another? Because the field doesn't respond to words, it doesn't respond to effort, it responds to alignment. This is why coherence feels so magnetic, because it is. When you are whole within yourself, when every part of you broadcasts the same truth, the universe bends instantly to meet you. No delays, no detours, no mixed signals, just collapse, clean, direct, inevitable. And the beautiful part? Coherence is not about forcing yourself into perfection. It is about returning to simplicity, stripping away contradiction, choosing one truth and embodying it fully. That is all. And from that place, the most ordinary person can manifest extraordinary realities. So let me leave you with this question. What would happen if you finally aligned every part of yourself? What if you stopped scattering your energy and became a single coherent signal? Because in that moment, you wouldn't just be asking the field, you would be commanding it. And the field always answers coherence. But to live this way, you don't fight, you simplify. And that is the final shift we now step into. You are always manifesting. Always. Every thought, every feeling, every action sends a signal into the field. The question isn't whether you manifest. The question is, are you doing it consciously or unconsciously? This is where simplicity and awareness collide into power. You don't need to become a manifester. You already are one. The only shift is awareness, finally realizing what vibration you're actually sending and choosing it on purpose. You're always shaping reality. Do it on purpose. Think about it. Most people believe letting go means giving up. But in truth, letting go is the ultimate act of power. It is the moment you stop forcing, the moment you stop tightening your grip, and in that surrender, you hand the reins to the field. The very intelligence that can orchestrate infinite possibilities beyond what your mind can imagine. So let me ask you, what happens when you release the anxiety, the micromanaging, the frantic need to know when? What happens when you simply step into presence, into clarity, into trust? Suddenly, life falls into place. Synchronicities appear, doors open, opportunities find you, not because you pushed, but because you aligned. Picture this, a person shifts from living in fear to living in presence. They stop asking when and start embodying now. And almost overnight, reality bends. The people they need show up. The situations they've longed for flow in naturally. Why? Because they stopped scattering their energy. They became conscious of it. They chose. That is the essence of conscious creation. Simplicity and awareness. Choosing your vibration, holding it steady, and letting the field do what it was designed to do, mirror you back with precision. So here's the urgency. You are not waiting for reality to change. Reality is waiting for you. Waiting for you to claim awareness. Waiting for you to strip away the noise and send one clear, undeniable signal. And this is the truth most forget. You don't need more effort. You don't need more control. You need clarity. You need simplicity. You need to remember that you are not a passive observer of life. You are the projector, the shaper, the creator. So the final challenge is this. Will you continue to manifest unconsciously, tangled in chaos, or will you step into conscious creation? Simple, clear, powerful. Because the moment you choose awareness, the field responds instantly. And now, it is time to seal the shift with one declaration. Your strongest, clearest statement of who you are. I am the field. Say it out loud. Feel it in your chest. Let it echo through every cell of your being, because this is not just a phrase, not just a mantra. It is the activation of identity. It is the remembrance of who you already are. I am not separate from the miracle. I am the miracle. Do you feel the difference? You've spent years asking, waiting, trying to convince reality to deliver. But when you anchor this identity, when you declare with clarity that you are the field itself, everything shifts. Words alone do not create. It is the energy behind them, the coherence of mind, heart, and body vibrating as one. This is why ancient rituals, chants, and mantras carried such power. Not because of the syllables, but because the speaker embodied them. The shaman, the mystic, the devotee, when they spoke, their entire being aligned with the vibration of truth. And the field responded not to sound, but to coherence. So let me ask you, what happens when you wake each morning and don't just recite words, but inhabit them? When you don't just say, I am the field, but you breathe it, you walk it, you live it? That declaration becomes reality, because the field cannot deny its own reflection. Picture this, someone repeats, I am presence, I am love, I am abundance. At first, the words feel hollow, but then they choose to live it. They act as if it is true. They feel the resonance in their chest. And slowly, the words are no longer affirmations, they are identity, and reality bends to match that truth. This is the invitation. Stop asking, stop chasing, anchor your identity. Speak the declaration, not with doubt, but with certainty. Not as a wish, but as a fact. And in that moment, the field does not hesitate. It recognizes you. Because you are not speaking to something outside yourself. You are reminding the infinite of its own name. So let it be sealed. Let it be known. You are not apart from creation. You are creation itself. The observer, the wave, the ocean, the light. I am the field. Let that identity carry you forward. Let it saturate your thoughts, emotions, and actions. And from that place, reality has no choice but to respond. And from this truth, you are ready. Ready to step into the next level of awareness where wanting dissolves and being begins. This is the shift you've been waiting for, the great turning point, the end of reaching and the beginning of embodying. Because manifestation was never about chasing. It was never about getting. It was always about remembering. remembering that when you stop grasping, when you stop declaring, I want, and instead become everything you once chased begins to flow to you, unforced, unstoppable. Manifestation is not a chase, it's a remembrance. Look back at the journey we've traveled together. You learned that control creates resistance. You discovered the quantum field, the invisible sea of potential waiting for your signal. You saw how scattered energy creates chaos and how coherence brings power. You felt the truth that you are not a receiver, but a projector. And finally, you anchored the identity, I am the field. All of this has been leading to one thing, the shift from wanting to being. Think of the difference. Someone who constantly says, I want love, their energy screams of lack, of absence. But someone who decides, I am love, I live as love, I radiate love. What happens? Love appears. People feel it. Reality rearranges to match it. This is not philosophy, it is physics. The field does not hear your wishes, it mirrors your being. And now it's your turn. Declare it. Claim it. Anchor it in front of the world. Write one line in the comments, your truth, your declaration. Because when you write it, you don't just type words, you lock it into your identity. You give your future self a signal to follow. People before you have done this. I remember a woman from Texas who once wrote, I am already whole. Within weeks, she told us, opportunities poured into her life, relationships shifted, her work blossomed, and her health began to align. Not because she begged for it, but because she declared it, and the field reflected her wholeness back to her. So here's your moment. Write it. I am the field, or whatever declaration matches your truth, and then watch what unfolds. And as you do, don't just keep this to yourself. Like this video, share it with your friends and family, save it so you can return to this shift whenever you need reminding. Because together, we're not just learning, we are transforming. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next step in this journey. Episode 3 will take us deeper into this transformation, moving fully from wanting to being. Thank you. Out of millions of videos you could have chosen, you chose this one. That means you're ready. Ready to embody, ready to create, ready to remember who you are. Now, support this channel with your heart. Hit the like button, leave your comment, share this message. Let's flood the field with clarity, coherence, and love. Because when you do, miracles will not just happen around you, they will happen through you.